Okay, let's go on to the third component of the Fab Four, triple glazed windows. So for us, this cut our carbon footprint about 5% or about 2 tons per year, saves us about $1,000 a year, and it costs us about $5,000. Now, this is the additional cost of us installing triple glazed windows above the cost of doing double glazed windows. And the reason for this is because we had ancient double glazed windows from the 1970s that were broken and not working at all, and you'll see them in a minute. So we had to replace them anyway. So the decision for us was, do we replace them with double glazed or with triple glazed? So I looked at that additional decision, and the additional cost of triple glazed is very small compared to double glazed. It will cost you exactly the same to install a triple glazed window as a double glazed window. And so the additional cost was only about $4,500, pays for itself in about 5 years, a return on investment of 19% after tax. If your windows are rotting or broken or need replacing, it makes far more sense to replace them with triple glazed than with double glazed. However, if they're in good shape, what you should do is something different and add window inserts, which I'll explain in a minute. So what is a triple glazed window? Well, a single glazed window is a single panel of glass, a single pane of glass. This has almost no insulation value. It will block the rain and block the wind and allow you to see out, but it does not insulate. A double glazed window has 2 panes of glass with a 1/2-inch air gap between the two. It is the air that does the insulating, not the glass. A triple glazed window has 3 sheets of glass and 2 air gaps, 2 1/2-inch air gaps. And a double glazed window plus a storm window is not a triple glazed window. This is a myth perpetuated by the window building industry. You have to seal the air in there to make it insulating, otherwise the air just flows through as it does through a storm window. So storm windows protect your windows from rot and rain, but they do not really insulate very well at all. Now, low E is something that can be added to a window to make it much more insulating. So a single glazed window is about less than R1, double glazed about R2, triple glazed over R3, triple glazed low E between R4 and R6. So what happens here is a very thin coating is placed on the glass that reflects energy into the house, and so now both the glass and the air are acting as insulators. And in a reasonably well insulated house, the windows are losing about 1/3 to 1/2 of the energy and money. So you really do need to focus on the windows to greatly cut your carbon footprint and save lots of money. A triple glazed low E window today loses only 15% of the heat and the money lost by a single glazed window. Huge improvement. And the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory estimates that low E has saved Americans $150 billion on heating bills, which isn't bad for something that's invisible. Now here's me modeling how triple glazed windows work. On the left, you see me wearing a single glazed window or a t-shirt because it's not trapping any air. With the green sweater on, I've now got 1 layer of air trapped against my body, keeping me warm. With 2 sweaters, I've got 2 layers of air. That's like a triple glazed window with 2 layers of air to keep me warm. And then if I put a shiny foil space blanket around me, it's like having a low E triple glazed window because I've got 2 air gaps insulating me, and I've got the infrared light from my body. The heat is being reflected back to my body to keep me nice and warm. If you have single glazed windows, and we had some, it's like going outside in winter in just a t-shirt. That would be crazy, and having single glazed windows is equally crazy. So how do triple glazed windows work? Here's a good example of it. On the outside, to the left-hand side of this picture, you've got the light coming from the sun. Ultraviolet light is the kind of light that will give you a suntan. It's the kind of light that will will fade your carpets and fade your photographs. So you really want to keep that out of the house. If you have a low E coating, a low E 180 coating on the outside, it will reflect away the ultraviolet light. The visible light, though, passes straight through the window, keeping the room nice and bright. Now, if you're on the inside of the house and you're standing in the middle of the room, your body temperature is 98 degrees, the room may be at 70 degrees, you're emitting infrared light or heat that is escaping out of your windows, taking your heat and your dollars with it, unless you have a low E I-89 coating on the inside, which will reflect back that infrared light. And that will keep you much warmer. So these coatings greatly improve the insulating power of a window, and today's low E triple glazed windows are 8 times better than their single glazed ancestors from the 1970s. This is a huge improvement. These are our old double glazed windows from the 1970s. You can see the panel has, the seal is broken, it's all misted up on the inside, you can't see the garden. They have metal frames, and the ones on the right, you can see as the house has subsided a little bit over time, there was actually a 1-inch air gap between the window and the frame, and which is sealed over here with duct tape, and that's why we had to replace all the windows. This is what we replaced them with, and I hope you agree with me. These look much nicer than the old ones. So in addition to cutting the carbon footprint and saving us money, they've really transformed the way we actually live in the house. And we can't lose sight of the fact that these are our homes we're talking about. We care about how they look and how they feel and how it is to live in this house. It's not just about the energy bills and the carbon footprint. Replacing windows, though, is expensive. So what can you do if your windows are in decent shape and not falling apart like ours were? Well, there is a solution, and here it is. This is now upstairs at our rental property, which has original single glazed windows. So rather than replace them with triple glazed windows, I decided to try something, which are these fit from the inside window inserts. And I bought 4 different manufacturers' windows, one from Alpina, one from Indo, one from Window Inserts, and one from Inner Glass. And you can see them here against the windows upstairs at our rental property. These are the windows taken, evaluated with an infrared camera. This is a camera that measures heat. And the warmer here in these pictures is yellow, and the purple is the colder part of the picture. So you can see the control window, which has no insert in it. On the left there, it's just a single pane glass. It's at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold, and you can see the dark purple color. The outside air temperature on this day was about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The Alpina, Indo, and Window Inserts ones are at about 50 degrees, and the Inner Glass one, which is actually a glass surface, the other 3 are plastic surfaces, and the Inner Glass one has a low E coating, so it has much better insulation than the others. And you can see these are the measured R values. This is what I measured. This is not what the manufacturers say. This is what I measured in the windows as they're actually installed. All these windows block drafts, if that's a problem for you, and all of them reduce noise. But of these, the Inner Glass one insulates the best. So being that sort of financial geek as well as the financial nerd as well as the energy geek, I figured out how much I could save from each one of these windows, because I knew from my energy model what one additional R value would save me in terms of dollars from each of these roughly 10 square foot windows. You can see that compared to the price, and I only ordered one of these windows, which meant that the delivery cost was very high. If you ordered maybe 10 or 15, the delivery cost would be very low per unit. So I thought it was better to look at this from the price of the window without the delivery, which is on the right-hand side. And you can see the payback there is about 5 years for most of them. The Indo one is not particularly good. It's rather expensive and it has a rather low R value, but the others are about 5 years. My personal preference among these is the Inner Glass one. It has the highest R value, it's reasonably priced, and I just prefer the look of glass to that of clear polycarbonate or acrylic. The glass is also easy to break if you have to use it as an emergency exit. Polycarbonate is not easy to break at all. It's the same material used in riot shields for police. And there's no thick rubber gasket around the edges because the edges are spring-loaded, which makes it a little tricky to fit, but it's worth it. So for further details on these, you can read chapter 4 in Zero Carbon Home. I do not recommend the stretchy film, sort of saran wrap type stuff that you stretch out with a hairdryer. I have used this stuff. It takes the paint off the window frames. That's if you're lucky. I actually have nice, sticky, gooey strips of glue left on my window frames that are now collecting a nice collection of ants and flies and other things that crawl across the glue and get stuck.